Hi guys, Iliana here. Welcome to my kitchen again. So today we're going to make entomatadas. These are going to be the ingredients that you need. Nor tomate for your salt. We are going to use 4 ripe tomatoes, 1 garlic, 1/4 onion, and 1 jalapeno since I like my sauces spicy. You're going to get a pack of tortillas, however many you guys decide to make. You're going to get some cheese. We use Munster cheese and some salad. Or you could just do lettuce, and I'll show you guys what we're going to do with that later. Also, I add turmeric to all my recipes, guys. It's a really good anti-inflammatory, and a little bit of pepper to help the turmeric absorb. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to add the tomato into a pan of boiling water. The garlic, we're going to leave it fresh, and the onion. But we're going to add the 4 ripe tomatoes and the jalapeno into a pan of boiling water that I overfilled a little bit. And we're going to let those cook. The sauce tastes a lot better fresh. Some people like using tomato sauce for this recipe. It is not something that I like to do. I feel that the fresher the flavors, the better. But you can, by all means, add tomato sauce to give you that redder tone, because if anything, it gives you a more tomatoey flavor and it has a more intense color. For me, I prefer the fresh natural flavors, so to each his own. Okay guys, so once your tomato is fully cooked, the tomato peels are going to start coming off of them. Basically, the tomato skins are going to start separating from the tomato, so you're going to go ahead and remove them. Get yourself some prongs so you don't burn yourself, and you're going to go ahead and turn off your fire, and you can wait until it is completely cooled off. I've been doing this method for a while, so I'm actually pretty careful, and so far I haven't made any mistakes or burned myself. So you can go ahead and do that. Go ahead and remove all the tomato peels. That way your sauce is smoother. Okay, so now once your peels are all removed, we're going to go ahead and get the tomatoes, and we're going to blend everything in a blender. And the jalapeno. Make sure that your blender can handle the hot temperatures. If you didn't wait like me to get everything blended in, okay? At this point, guys, go ahead and add your consomate, turmeric, and pepper. I went ahead and I changed the angle on this because it's my first time using this tripod, so I haven't figured it quite out yet, guys. I'm gonna undersalt just because you're better off having to add a little more later than adding too much to begin with. So just a dash of turmeric. Turmeric has no flavor, guys, so it's not going to affect anything, but it is really good for, it's a very good anti-inflammatory. So the pepper will help you absorb the turmeric, like I mentioned. And before I forget, I want to thank my mom for sharing this recipe with me. She is the one that had done this recipe in the past, and I never did it, but I did have a request to do it, so I was super thrilled. So thank you for that. And so once it's all in the blender, you guys are going to go ahead and blend to a sauce consistency. I'll show you guys once it's done. Okay guys, so our next step, once our sauce is done, I wanted to point out that I did add more consomate, and I did add a little bit more onion because the flavor wasn't right exactly where I wanted it. So at that point, when you are blending it, you can taste it as you go and add whatever spices you think it needs. I prefer to do it that way than to add too many spices and then it's over seasoned. So definitely add the spices as you go after your flavor test. So now that the sauce is done, I have preheated a pan here, and I am going to use lard to fry my sauce. Yes, you're gonna fry your sauce, and I do use the Mexican lard. Okay, this thing is amazing. Don't worry, we're gonna use a little bit, but you can't beat the flavor, guys. So use genuine. This is a recipe that you don't want. It's less than a teaspoonful. of it. Looks a lot bigger, but let me show you. That's a teaspoon. It's less than a teaspoon. So that's what you're gonna use. You're gonna heat that up. Lard tends to have a smell after if you're not used to it. After you fry it, after you've heated and melted it, you start smelling the pan, you start smelling the lard. And so once you start smelling that smell, sounds like I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. That's when the lard is ready for you to add whatever food you're gonna add to it. And if you notice, it's not a lot in there. You can use less, that is fine. You can use less of this lard, but you want to have a good amount in there to be able to fry your sauce properly. Let me show you guys the consistency of the sauce. Be very careful when you pour this in, guys, because your lard is going to be hot. You can make your sauce a little bit thicker. Mine's still a little thinner than I would like it to be. You're going to just let that sit there and simmer, come to a boil really good, stir it in, and then we're gonna start rolling our entomatadas. So let's just bring this to a boil for about, I want to say about 2 to 3 minutes or so, and our sauce will be ready. One tip on this recipe, guys, with the sauce, make sure that you add the liquid little by little, because I accidentally added too much liquid, so I had to add another tomato. So don't make that mistake. So just go ahead and add the liquid a little bit at a time, and if you do what I did, you can add another tomato to make the sauce thicker again, because we need the sauce to be a little bit thick. I'll show you the consistency in a bit. Notice, guys, once our sauce has come to a boil as so, I have been stirring it on and off, and I began heating up another pan. That's where we're going to fry our entomatadas, and we are going to use the lard sparingly, but we are going to use it to fry our entomatadas. So now we're going to switch these two around, turn off the back burner so your sauce can just rest. And this is where we're going to fry them. Make sure you have yourself a container. This particular dish, I prefer to serve it this way. As they're coming out of the stove, they are served in a plate. They taste better fresh. So that is maybe a downfall of this recipe, but it is worth it. It tastes a lot better when they're fresh. So we're gonna do this enchilada style. First, we're gonna put our lard in our pan here. We're not gonna use a lot. Very little, half of that maybe. And we are going to take out the cheese also, because we are going to roll them. I'm going to show you guys 2 ways to set these up, to plate these. One's going to be rolled and the other one's going to be stacked. So if you notice, the lard is just barely covering. There's still some left in the spoon. It's just barely covering my pan, just enough to coat it. It doesn't need to be excessive in any way. You are going to dip your tortilla in the sauce, and then you're going to bring it into the other pan. Lower your flame on this one. And you can add more sauce. Some people like heating up the tortillas before they do this process. I don't like it because they tend to become very soggy, if you ask me. So I prefer them done this way. Even if I have to add a little more sauce, I think it is better that way. And so you do one side, you flip it over, add sauce, do the other side, and it's done. Move it over to your plate. Add your cheese. I forgot to mention, my family doesn't like onion in these, but you can very well add onion to these in the cheese and just roll them up. And we do it all over again. So I went ahead and I switched out my pan, guys, because the other one wasn't working for me. I need to go ahead and re-cure it. Go ahead and make sure that you use a pan that you are familiar with, that you know will not stick. For these kind of recipes, you have to have a Teflon pan that is definitely a non-stick pan that you love and that you are used to working with, so you can roll these tacos and fry them really fast. See the difference? The sauce is brewing in there instead of being absorbed. It's brewing in there and it's being allowed to be absorbed by the tortilla, unlike the other one that kept sticking. Big difference. These are a little messy, so we can just slow down and not make a mess. Make sure your pan stays clean and repeat. Remember, guys, this is the first time I'm doing this recipe for you guys. I know, and they taste delicious. And I forgot to mention the smell I was talking about for the lard. It is an amazing smell. I don't want you guys to think that it smells ugly. No, it's an amazing smell. For those of you that have used lard, know what I'm talking about. Didn't want you to think that it was a bad smell, because it is not. So just in the time that this one is frying, you roll the one that was on your plate. And you keep going. Wipe it clean. Have a paper towel nearby so you can wipe all that off. Repeat. Notice I'm putting very little lard on the pan. We're relying mostly on the sauce. Let that one cook. Roll your other one. I wanted to mention, guys, for this recipe, make sure your tortillas are not super thin. You do want the tortillas to have a little bit of thickness to them. You don't want them to be super thick either, because that doesn't work either. But make sure that they have a nice thickness to them. And now I'm gonna show you guys how to do the stacked ones now. Exactly like it sounds. You're going to stack one on top of the other and add your cheese. See, the other tortillas were better. cheese. Always, always coat with a little bit of oil to prevent your tortillas from sticking. The sauce came out delicious, guys, too. Tastes really good. I would have liked it to be a little thicker, but it actually works out pretty good. It's not bad, and it does get a little thicker once you fry it in here for a second time. But a little bit thicker would have been perfect. You can also freeze this sauce and save it for later, since these taste better freshly made. You can freeze your sauce in a Ziploc bag and just bring it down and thaw it out when you need it for a later day. If you're rushing and you just want to make a quick meal, these make for a delicious fast meal if you already have the sauce ready. The sauce is what takes the longest. You are going to have a lot of spraying. That's normal. The sauce will jump a little bit, so be careful. You are frying it, and for those of you that have made enchiladas, it's the same. The only thing that changes is the sauce. So once you have them either stacked or rolled, however you want them, you are going to add a little more sauce on top. And sprinkle a little more cheese. At this point, guys, you can add rice. Don't forget to check my rice recipe, or you can add some refried beans. I will show you guys the picture of how I will be serving these today. But you have many options for side dishes on these. Thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you guys want me to show you any other recipes, let me know. Here you go, guys. Stacked entomatadas. Rolled entomatadas. Which is your favorite? I like rolled. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for requesting this, Vicky. And if you guys want me to cook anything else or show you any other recipes, please let me know. Really appreciate you guys, and stay safe.